Noel Wax is an expert in socially responsible marketing. He's an expert relationship builder in the B2B space. And here are his 5 steps to thriving in sales.
If you have a product or service or represent something where you could call a friend and either that friend can say to you, yes, I'd love to try it, or they can refer you to the person inside of the company with a great recommendation and say, you want to talk to Noel, you want to talk to Will, you want to talk to whoever it is about this thing, that is the best. Now to cultivate that takes time. So I go back to friendships I had in high school. I'm 47 years old now, and I've got friends that are doing incredible things, and I can pick up the phone and call them at, whether it's at LinkedIn or Bank of America, and say, I started this business 4 years ago. Can you help me with something or get me the right person? And without doubt, they will say yes. Those are real friendships. But in the years of business, I've developed those as well by virtue of what I've delivered to and for them and the value that I've brought to the table relative to that relationship. It took me a long time to convert a business relationship into a friendship. Once I realized that I could actually do that, they became even more valuable because those two worlds together is, I think, the best. A friend that's also a business relationship. And it came to the point where I offered a lot of value in advance, and those relationships became very real. If I received a piece of mail, whether it was, I'd say someone took a moment to write a note to me, they learned a little bit about me. The least I could do is show them the respect to read it, respond, even if it's just, I'm not interested, thanks for the effort. I know people don't even get responses to sending bottles of wine and bigger things these days. I've even thought recently about people that will respond to me leaving a message, say, I will give you $100 for a 15-minute conversation. Now, if you work X amount of time and you get paid X amount of dollars and you did that you would make X amount this year. So is it worth it for 15 minutes if I send you a $100 check? Now, it's more attention getting than anything else, but just trying to be different, unique, creative, thoughtful, sometimes a little shock value, but behind it is a real authentic idea that I can help them, I can bring value to them, and I've done my research on that before I even make the outreach. To each person, it's different. Once I know something about them, if I see something in common that I found at LinkedIn and say, hey, we went to school at the same time, I wonder if you were in such and such's class, really personal. Sometimes, I sent a book to somebody that wasn't responding to me. And the shock was, the book was How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I said in the note, I said, hey, maybe if we both read this, we will find a way to find common ground. And I'm taking a risk. She could have been entirely offended, or she could have been like, wow, that was really cool and creative. Either way, I'm ahead of where I am now, which is nothing. So being different, being unique, trying to get attention, willing to risk some things sometimes and just say, even if it's a call, I'm making myself vulnerable. It's so uncomfortable to leave you this message now because I know I've left you 23 and I probably seem like a stalker, but I would really love to talk to you. I think I could bring real value to you, and I'm embarrassed to even have to call this many times. You can make me go away by responding to my call, responding to my email, or just getting back to me. I'm going to keep trying until I get you. So they're just like, all right, I got to get this guy out of my hair. I'm going to call him back. Those aren't positive things, but it's a little shocking for someone to realize that he's not going away until I get back to him. I literally close my eyes, and before I pick up the phone and I call, as a very specific example here, I literally I meditate through it. I try to understand what does the finish line look like, and what are the exact steps along the way to get me there without rushing. I want to go over every hurdle, to use a racing example. There's 10 of them. What does the first one look like? What does the next one look like? But I have to set the ultimate goal at the end. Now, sometimes the goal is just a conversation. The ultimate goal is the deal, and then obviously the renewal. So at each phase along the way, there's a different goal, but I close my eyes. Okay, with this example, what is my goal? Where do I want to get to? How do I get there? What's the next thing I need to do? Because without doing it in stepped or phased processes, I get overwhelmed. Like, oh my God, this multi-million-dollar deal, there's so many things to do. Okay, what is the next thing? So taking it from a book sending is, glad you like the book. Let's talk about it. I'm going to read the same one. It's the whatever it might be. My favorite book is The Go-Giver by Bob Burg. I send that to a lot of people. What did you like about the book? And did you jump into it yet? Small talk. Oh, by the way, I've got this new thing that I rolled out that I think would make a lot of sense for us to talk about. As you're planning 2018, can we jump on a quick call to talk about how this might apply to what you're doing? Now, I know enough about what they're doing to make it make sense. That's a trial attempt at a meeting or a close. If they say, whatever the answer is. It could be no, it could be not right yet, it could be yes. If it's yes, boom, we got our goal. If it's no, okay, well, is there a better time for that? So I trial it. Now, once I trial and they say no, I can't go right back to another, well, how about this? I pull it back a little bit and say, hey, how about that book again? So that's cultivating the relationship and the conversation, obviously dependent upon where it is, but knowing what the finish line looks like, one step at a time to get there, not rushing it too much, but also setting a goal and a parameter. I know certain timelines. Obviously, this is a great time to do it, planning for 2018. And then the next phase would be, hey, what does Q2 look like for you? How can we be part of your growth? Q3, you've got this date coming up. So knowing certain calendar dates that allow me a sense of urgency as well. So for me, it's once a week at some level, and there are weeks that go by where we don't have to. So if to me at that point, the relationship and ensuring that we are delivering and they feel really good about making that decision to work with me and work with us and work with our company, those are all hopefully obvious at those points. So I divide up some of the responsibility. I'm lucky enough to have a team or a staff of people that supports this, but my relationship then becomes ensuring that we deliver on the promise to them. And all along the way, they feel really good about working with us. The communication cadence is critical. So it's a question I ask along the way to say, how would you like this to look now? My style is to give you, depends on what the deal is, but upwards of a weekly update with numbers and information so that you can look at this thing. I can set it up online. I can send it to you. We can have a conversation. I don't want this to be cumbersome for you as my client. I want it to be as labor unintensive as you want it to be, but I want you to be informed, advised. If you need to inform people in your company what's going on, you'll have it. How do you want it to look? And then we set up the structure that way. So if it's a formal once a week touch base with a 30-minute call to update, fine. If it's an email update at the end of each week with what's going on and details from the campaign or the program, absolutely. It's a combination of those things. If they say to me, I want once a month, or I don't want to talk to you at all, I want to do it at the end and let's just do a recap. I'm too busy to do this stuff. We have to do it in a way that works for both of us. I let them know that there is no amount of contact that's too much for us, because for them to be informed, advised, and open communication is critical for them to see the results of the program, and also to own that there will be problems. There will be things that come up that we might be very uncomfortable with, but if I'm not talking you to the end, you're not going to know about that. So let's not be uncomfortable saying, we have this thing, I see this is happening, this isn't working the way that we thought, let's troubleshoot right now while we can, because then you're not going to get the deal again if you didn't advise them of something that goes on. A lot of salespeople fear that part. I had a major issue with that in the beginning. I would close my deals. I started in radio sales. I'd close my deals. I wouldn't talk to them until it was over. I never renewed anything. I had no idea what the problems they were having were. I was afraid to talk to them. That has changed entirely and cannot be the way that we do business.